Exercise A. Meaning from context. Page 72.
1. The region has experienced an increase in the number of tourists who visit every year. After careful analysis of the effects of tourism on the environment, the government has decided to limit the number of tourists to the region.
2. It isn't clear yet what the environmental effects of the increase in tourism have been, but apparently there is more pollution in the region now than there was 10 years ago.
3. A government spokesperson said it is important to find a balance between the need to develop the economy and the need to protect the environment.
4. The tourist industry did not agree with the arguments presented by environmental groups, but after some discussion, they were able to reach a compromise. Neither side was happy, but they both accepted the final result.
5. The next step is for the region to bring in some consultants. They will examine the situation, and they will use their expert knowledge to give advice on future developments.
6. Above all, it is important that no further harm is done to the birds and plants in the region. They need to be protected from danger.
7. The consultants will study the impact of tourism in other places with similar environments.
8. In theory, it might be possible to encourage tourism while still protecting birds and plants. In practice, this might be more difficult than it appears.
9. The tourist industry might need to look into different ways of bringing tourists into the region. They could, for example, explore the idea of group tours instead of individual travel.
10. Above all, the goal is to preserve the region's environment while still allowing people to visit this amazing region.
Listening. Tourism for a changing world. Exercise B. Main ideas. And Exercise C. Details. Page 74.
Hi, Serena. How's it going? I haven't seen you for a while.
Oh, hi, Liam. Everything's fine with me. Can you believe we're in our last year of high school?
I know. I'm still trying to decide where to go to college.
Oh, that's not easy. So which colleges are top on your list?
Well, I'm actually thinking about going to college in Canada. I'm looking at either Mount Royal University in Calgary or the University of Northern British Columbia.
Interesting. Why those places?
Because I'd like to get a degree in ecotourism, and there aren't that many colleges that offer it.
Ecotourism? You're going to have to tell me what that is.
My parents said the same thing. Basically, ecotourism tries to make sure tourists have a great experience, but do it in a way that can preserve nature and benefit local people. It's about finding a balance between what's good for tourism and what's good for the environment. It's a different kind of tourism, one that is more appropriate for the kind of world we live in today.
So, it's like tourists visit natural areas without having a negative impact on them. That's pretty cool.
I know, right? The idea is that tourists learn to appreciate the world around them. Here's an example. One of the most interesting tourist destinations in the world right now is Iceland. But tourists don't go there just to visit museums. They go horseback riding, they walk in the mountains, they take small boats along the coast and see the amazing landscapes and bird life. Or the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. Tourists are becoming concerned about the number of plant and animal species that are disappearing, and they want to help preserve them. Today's tourists want to do more than just sit on a beach. They want to see the rainforest, but they want to do it responsibly.
You sound really passionate about this, so I can see why you want to study ecotourism.
Yeah. I've always loved traveling, so getting a job related to travel has been a dream of mine for a long time. And I've heard that ecotourism is a real growth area in the tourism industry right now. So I'm hoping it'll be easy to find a job after I graduate. And there are so many news stories these days about how humans have damaged the environment. So it seems like the right thing is to try and protect it, you know?
Right. But isn't air travel bad? Traveling by airplane is one of the worst things you can do for the environment. Planes use so much fuel.
You're absolutely right, Serena. So the idea behind ecotourism is to find a compromise. If people are going to travel somewhere, ecotourism says let's make sure they travel in a way that causes as little damage as possible. Let's make sure they act in a responsible way when they arrive. Let's make sure they know the harm that humans can do to the landscape.
That sounds good in theory, but how does it work in practice?
Well, I was reading about ecotourism in Madagascar. There's a national park there called Tsingy de Bamara. It's this amazing landscape, like a forest of sharp rocks. A great tourist destination. But it's hard to get there, and the typical tourists are likely to damage the landscape. Apparently, it's a place at risk.
Okay.
So what happened was these ecotourism consultants came in. They did an analysis of the area and selected some regions that were especially good for tourists. They built facilities, walkways, bridges, that kind of thing, to allow tourists to visit these regions without causing damage or hurting local wildlife. Apparently, about 2,000 local jobs were created in the process.
You've really done your research on this, huh, Liam? But still, what's so special about these colleges in Canada?
Well, Mount Royal in Calgary has a degree in ecotourism and outdoor leadership. Calgary is a great city, apparently one of the 5 most livable cities in the world, and it's only about an hour away from the Rocky Mountains. If I study there, I might be able to get a summer job at an ecotourism center. I'd be able to experience ecotourism firsthand. The University of Northern British Columbia degree is nature-based tourism management. It's different because it combines courses in business and marketing with outdoor education and environmental studies. Either way, I'd like to help tourists learn more about nature. I want to lead them on activities like mountain biking and rock climbing, that kind of thing.
Whoa, that sounds amazing. I might have to look into studying ecotourism myself.
Pronunciation. Determine which word to stress. Page 76.
The word you choose to stress in a sentence draws the listener's attention to it. Stressing different words can change the meaning of the sentence. Serena didn't want to go on an ecotourism vacation to Iceland. Liam did. Serena didn't want to go on an ecotourism vacation to Iceland. She had no choice. Serena didn't want to go on an ecotourism vacation to Iceland. She wanted to just relax. Serena didn't want to go on an ecotourism vacation to Iceland. She wanted to work there. Serena didn't want to go on an ecotourism vacation to Iceland. She wanted to go to Brazil.
Exercise D, page 77.
Oliver.
I want to do something dramatic. I would love to go on an adventure trip to a national park. I want to explore caves, go canoeing, swim in natural pools, and sleep in a tent. I don't care about seeing things made by people, like museums or castles. I want to see natural landscapes. The world is changing, and I want to see dramatic sights in nature before they disappear.
Jose.
I don't understand people who are interested in difficult journeys. I mean, I totally agree with the interest in great natural sights. I enjoy those things too. But I have no desire to sleep in a tent or drive on a dirt road. I don't want to worry about accidents or wild animals. I would rather experience the natural world from the comfort of an air-conditioned bus.
Leeway.
It seems to me that all the great natural sites in the world are far away from here. Africa, Siberia, the South Pole. Those places are expensive to travel to. For me, it's enough to watch videos about those places. I would rather go somewhere less remote and cheaper to fly to. We could combine some historical sites like castles and palaces with some dramatic scenery.
Exercise A. Model. Page 80.
Good morning. Today we're going to tell you something about the White Desert in Egypt. Have you heard of this place? We'll tell you how it was formed, why it's popular with tourists, and why we would recommend that you visit this place. Let's start with some basic facts. If you look at the first slide, you'll see that the White Desert is a huge area of empty land. The White Desert National Park covers an area of 300 square kilometers. It's part of the Sahara Desert that covers much of northern Africa. The landscape looks like it's covered with snow, but it's actually sand. The area was once underwater, and the strange rock formations that you see here were created by erosion from the wind and the desert sand. Now, I'm going to hand it over to my partner, Mariam. She's going to talk about tourism in the White Desert.
Thanks, Rashid. Well, the first thing I want to say is that if you go here, you need to plan your trip carefully. There are tour companies that can take you into the desert by truck. You can see one in the slide. When you get there, you can go camping or you can go mountain biking. It's possible to explore the desert on your own, but the government limits independent travel and that can be risky. It isn't recommended to go alone. It's best to join a tour. Tour operators know the region and they know which roads to take. You may be wondering when the best time to travel is. This is the desert, and it does get very hot. The best time to go is between October and March, when the highest temperature is around 32 degrees Celsius. Whenever you go, protect yourself against the sun with a sun hat and sunglasses. Now I'll hand it back to Rashid.
You should definitely try to visit this very special place. Some of the things that make it special are related to nature. The colors change all the time because of the sun. You can see this in this slide. At sunrise or sunset, the desert has colors like orange and pink. But in the middle of the night, under the moon, it looks white. There are no lights in the White Desert, so you can see bright stars without light pollution. You can meet the local people and learn about their unique way of life. And you might even see one of the desert's animals. If you look carefully, you might see a sand cat or varieties of sheep and foxes. This slide shows 2 desert foxes. I'm going to finish with the words of Ziad Omran, who operates a tour company in the White Desert. He says, "It's so different from any place on the planet." So, please think about visiting. Thank you.